Hey guys, bit of a different video today than we usually do, but I felt it would be worth making it. Today I am going to take you all by the hand and explain how I do my personal power scaling videos. I have no idea how long this video will be because I have just written down a few bullet points I wanted to cover, so I will just put some gameplay in the background for you guys to watch whilst I ramble on. It'll probably be Cyberpunk or Dragon Quest, but you know, depends on how I feel when I want to play a game. So, the rules I use, right? I personally have 5 quote-unquote rules I adhere to when trying to make my power scaling videos to give some sort of consistency to the videos itself. The first and biggest rule I have given myself whilst thinking up the choices and scenarios for my videos is that I just take the character as bare bones as I possibly can before chucking them into Dragon Ball. What I mean with this is that I will only let these characters have their own powers which they have displayed in their own franchises. Some of the comments I see the most frequent is something along the lines of, this character could learn Ki and make it further. And whilst yes, that's probably true, it would also completely destroy their identity in a way. Let's be completely honest here, for the vast majority of characters I have done videos on and I could do videos on, obtaining Ki would be infinitely better than their own innate abilities and powers. Just quickly grabbing 2 examples from the top of my head on videos I've already done, take Subaru from ReZero and Yujiro from Baki. Both of these guys would obviously get much further if they learned how to fire death lasers from their hands. I don't think that's a really hot topic, right? I think that's pretty obvious. But my reasoning is and will always be, Ki does not exist in their own respective worlds. So I do not believe they could just learn it. I look at Dragon Ball Ki as being something exclusively available to the individuals that are naturally born in the Dragon Ball universe. Those that arrive there artificially, like my videos, could not learn this power, at least that is the logic I go with. I really want to see how far these characters could make it with just their own strength and merit. Otherwise, these videos would lose all of their purpose, really, if it just devolves into a regular Dragon Ball fight. I make these types of videos to see how far, for example, Return by Death could make it, or how far, for example, again, the strongest creature could make it. Giving everyone access to Ki would be incredibly boring if I do say so myself. But then again, just my opinion, right? But another rule I try to adhere to, and I honestly really do try to adhere to this, is to keep strictly to the quote-unquote canon of Dragon Ball. Techniques or power-ups exclusive to filler arcs or non-canon movies just don't really exist in these types of videos as far as I'm concerned. And you know, you can argue, okay, what is canon? Do I use the manga canon? Do I use the anime canon? Do I use the game canon? Generally speaking, the canon I use is the manga canon of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Super. But this is exclusive to Dragon Ball though. If a character from another franchise has a unique form that's only there in a filler movie, I don't mind including it at all. You can look at this as me nerfing Dragon Ball a tiny bit, but it is mostly just to keep it easier for me to adhere to the same rules every video. Another rule of sorts I adhere to is the concept that these characters are just magically poofed into existence in the world of Dragon Ball. Just view me in these videos as some kind of god, which sounds really like I'm stroking my ego right now, but you know, you get the point, that just pop them from their own world into the first arc of Dragon Ball. They don't lose any powers and they can't learn any powers from Dragon Ball. This is something I do to keep the videos from being too complicated in nature, I suppose. My purpose for making these videos is to just do some light speculating on how things could potentially go. These videos were never meant to go super in-depth on every little detail. I deliberately try to keep them under 15 minutes so people don't need to invest hours of their own time just to hear my opinion, right? I do try to encourage people to form their own opinions after all. And just keep in mind that the types of videos I make are just one possible quote-unquote scenario. It's just my take on things, so it's not like that's the universal law of how things should be. But a bit of a more controversial rule I tend to adhere to is that I don't really include too much hearsay on both sides. Dragon Ball has the lucky break that power levels dictate a lot of tiers within the franchise itself. For example, we know the first moonbusting event was done with a power level under 300. Raditz is at a power level of 1200. We have never seen him destroy a moon, but due to the power levels in Dragon Ball, we can very safely assume he could just do it. A franchise like Bleach, for example, has a lot more characters which are rumored to be able to destroy planets, for example, but you never actually see them do it. And they also don't have a system in place like power levels with actual statistical numbers. Personally, I tend to go with what I actually see characters do, which is probably the one rule I get the most controversy with. But I don't see that as a inherently bad thing, right? Having controversy and discussions with my types of videos is something I find incredibly healthy, actually. I just like the fact that people have different opinions from mine. It would be awfully boring if everybody just agreed with me every single time. The videos I make just serve as one possible scenario which stems from my personal imagination and my take on things. This does not mean that my take is the universally correct one, so I do like that people actually have differing takes from me. But the last rule I stick to is that I won't consider if a character is good or evil. I do sometimes get comments that are something along the line of, if this guy worked alongside the Z Fighters, he could get further. And once again, yes, that would probably be the case. But I just look at the enemies in each saga and look if the character with their own abilities could beat them. I almost never consider the scenario of the Z Fighters helping out, because that would pretty much defeat the purpose of the video, because, newsflash, the Z Fighters have already beaten this enemy before. So if they just help out, it would just mean, oh, it's the same battle except with one more ally on their side. It would not make anything better in my opinion. But in the off chance I do include that scenario, I will specifically state that I will have the Z Fighters help out. But in almost all cases, you can very safely assume I'm just putting the character in question against the enemies in question. And those are pretty much the 5 rules I try to adhere to when making my, X versus Dragon Ball videos. So to summarize, 1. The character in question only has their own powers and won't learn anything key related along the way. 2. I only use the canon for Dragon Ball, but I will use non-canon for the challenging franchises. 3. Characters won't lose or gain any powers by me magically placing them at the start of Dragon Ball. 4. I try to minimize hearsay powers and feats as much as I possibly can. And 5. The character will typically not get any help from the Z Fighters during their battles. And I suppose there is rule 6, that I just put the character in Dragon Ball and I just let them chronologically tackle each arc. So first off, they will have to fight the Red Ribbon Army, then they will have to fight King Piccolo, then they will have to fight Piccolo Jr., then they have to fight Raditz, etc, etc. They don't skip arcs, they just chronologically battle each and every arc, and whatever arc they lose at is where they go in the tier list. And these are pretty much the rules I came up with myself, but please again, just don't let that stop you from doing your own scenarios with your own rules. These types of videos are meant to spark discussions anyway, so I would highly suggest you not let a random bozo like me tell you how you should think. I think it's incredibly healthy if you have a different opinion from mine, because again, it would just be incredibly boring if everybody had my opinions, and I don't think that would necessarily make the internet a better place, let's be honest there. But yeah, with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching today's video. As per usual, I truly do appreciate every single viewer that takes the time out of their busy days to watch my content. It makes me very happy to know that even a handful of people even enjoys the content I produce. When I started making videos, I did not think I would get this far. I'm honestly surprised people still watch my channel even after I've been making trash videos for a year. But on the off chance you would actually like to see more of my content in the future, please consider clicking the subscribe button and turning on all notifications for my channel. I would also really appreciate it if you would consider liking the video and leaving a comment with your thoughts down below. Just share your opinion however you can. Work hard, study well, and eat and sleep plenty, and I will see you all again in the next video. Peace out.